The invitation arrived without warning, dressed in politeness but carrying a weight I couldn't ignore. My name is Daniel, and for months I had been struggling in silence with the bitter truth that my wife, Claire, had been unfaithful. Her betrayal left me cautious, restless, and strangely compelled by the unpredictable turns of fate. Now I found myself holding an invitation to a gathering where I would come face to face with someone I never expected to meet, the wife of the man Claire had been involved with. I made sure to arrive early, slipping into the party like a watchful observer. The room shimmered with conversation, laughter, and the subtle hum of music beneath the clinking of glasses. People drifted in circles of chatter and charm, but I paid attention only to the small details, the pauses in speech, the fleeting looks, the gestures that revealed more than words ever could. And then I saw her, Rebecca. She carried herself with grace, but I caught the tension in her stance, the quiet strain of a woman balancing composure and turmoil. Our first exchange was cautious, clipped by awareness of the unspoken history that tied us together. Her wine glass rested in her hand like a shield, her gaze scanning the room with precision. I recognized in her the same calculating watchfulness I felt in myself. We were not there to cause a scene. Not yet. We were there to study, to gather, to silently measure the reality of what had been done to us. As the evening unfolded, we crossed paths again and again, polite words, guarded smiles, but beneath it all a silent acknowledgement of our shared wound. At times our eyes met, and I wondered what she was hiding, what questions haunted her, and what pain she was refusing to show. It felt like an intricate dance, measured steps across a battlefield dressed up as a party. By the end of the first hour, I understood this gathering was no simple social call. It was a proving ground. Later, fate pressed us into a corner of the room, away from the crowd. Rebecca's voice was calm, but it carried the quiet fatigue of someone shouldering too much. "Daniel," she said softly, "this is uncomfortable, isn't it?" I gave a small nod, knowing the word uncomfortable barely touched the storm swirling between us. We spoke carefully, balancing openness with restraint. Every sentence was weighed, every gesture deliberate. I wanted clarity, some measure of control in the chaos my life had become, and I sensed she longed for the same. At one point she leaned closer, her words lowered almost to a whisper. "He never considers what it does to people like us, the wreckage he leaves behind." Her voice struck me like a blade sharpened by truth. She understood. We were both casualties of someone else's selfishness. And yet, within that recognition, there was a strange solidarity. We weren't adversaries. We were witnesses to the same betrayal. The music softened, wrapping the air in something almost tender, though the tension between us only sharpened. Our conversation unraveled in fragments, revealing hints of our lives while holding back the rawest parts. She tried to keep her composure, but I noticed a nervous tap of her fingers on her glass, the flicker of emotion she couldn't quite bury. It became clear this meeting wasn't an accident chance. It was a turning point. As the evening wore on, the pressure between us built. When we met near the dessert table, I couldn't hold back the question that had been burning all night. "Did you ever think it would come to this?" Rebecca's eyes lingered on me before she answered, her voice steady but tinged with bitterness. "No, but now that it has, I see the truth. We've both been manipulated, used. And the cruelest irony is that we're here together, trying to make sense of the damage he left behind." Her words echoed in me with devastating clarity. We weren't two opponents circling one another. We were allies shaped by the same wound. And in that realization, I felt a rush of grim understanding. Then came the revelation neither of us anticipated. A mutual acquaintance stepped quietly to Rebecca's side and whispered something in her ear. Her eyes widened, and when she turned to me, her expression was a storm of shock and recognition. "Daniel," she breathed, "he's lied about everything. About you, about me, about it all." The room seemed to narrow around us. The man who had torn our lives apart had been spinning deeper deceptions than either of us had imagined. In that instant, the balance shifted. We were no longer simply victims of infidelity. We were partners, standing side by side against a man who believed he could deceive without consequence. By the time the night ended, What began as an awkward, intense gathering had transformed into something else entirely. It became a reckoning. Rebecca and I left not as adversaries, but as unlikely allies bound by betrayal, recognizing that sometimes the deepest truths reveal themselves not through confrontation, but through the shared weight of understanding. That evening changed everything.